Mr. O'Keefe, President O'Donnell, Archbishop Rolio, Professor Rowland, Reverend Father, esteemed faculty, parents, families, honored guests, and dear classmates. It is my great honor to welcome you all to the commencement exercises of the class of 2024. This is a joyous moment, a time to give thanks for all that we have received during our 4 years at Christendom. But it may also be fitting, at the beginning of these festivities, to pause for a moment and reflect on one simple question. Whence this joy? What is it precisely that we have received here, and why does it produce such jubilation in us? We gather in Thanksgiving today, not simply for the conferral of an academic degree, but to mark the end of the first chapter in our study of the liberal arts. 4 years ago, in the midst of a pandemic which made us acutely aware of why the phrase, "may you live in interesting times," is considered a curse, we embarked on an intensive study of theology, philosophy, literature, political science, the classical works of Latin and Greek, history, and mathematics. Although at times we may have been awed by the difficulty of the subjects, we pressed on, certain that our labors would be rewarded. And what reward were we expecting? It cannot merely be the ability to think clearly and critically. It cannot merely be the power to communicate precisely and persuasively. It cannot merely be growing in knowledge of names, of dates, facts, and theories. It cannot merely be to have read good books or grappled with good ideas. All of these goods, and they are goods, may very well come from an education in the liberal arts, but none of these fully encapsulate its purpose. The liberal arts education is often defined as the education befitting a free person. As for what sort of education befits a free person, the liberal arts curriculum owes much of its current shape to the Christian humanists of the Renaissance, who sought in the works of antiquity a wisdom which could lead to human flourishing and allow for virtuous participation in society on every level, from the family to the nation. In other words, the liberal arts are not just an education for free men, but an education to free men. Drawing on the priceless treasures of those gone before us, a liberal arts education frees the student from being a slave to the trends and fancies of the present. The British philosopher Sir Roger Scruton put it this way, quote, "One of the saddest things about the modern world is that people live in a tiny time slice of the present moment, which they carry forward with them. But nothing remains, and there's nothing in their experience which reverberates down the centuries, because the centuries to them are completely dark, just unillumined corridors from which they stagger with just a single sliver of light. The liberal arts, on the other hand, provide a light which floods those unillumined corridors of the student's mind, grounding one in the truth and an awareness of past, place, and path ahead. And, most wondrously of all, our education at Christendom has drawn us closer to the one who said, 'I am the way, the truth, and the life,' and promised that you shall know the truth, and the truth will make you free. Whether through the study of the Godhead directly through theology, the queen of the liberal arts, or through appreciating his handiwork through the mediums of the other disciplines, the education we have received here did not stop at the limits of the measurable, but instead dared us to see the fabric of this world through the eyes of eternity. A deepening love for Christ and his church and service to our neighbor for love of him are the greatest fruits of any authentically Catholic education, and our studies in the classroom have been augmented by opportunities for service on campus, prayerful witness to the sanctity of life, and even missionary work abroad. We have sought truth, been freed by that truth, and come to understand in our very selves just a little more of what it means to live in the freedom of the children of God. And if you want an example of the transformative power of a liberal arts education given to the service of Christ, I would look no further than the faculty and staff of Christendom College. To guide someone on the path to freedom is no small thing, and you have given yourselves entirely to that noble mission. At this time, I would especially like to thank Dr. O'Donnell for his decades of tireless devotion to Christendom College. The monumental grandeur of the new Christ the King Chapel is a fitting legacy, only surpassed by the zeal for Christ which you have kindled in countless hearts. And so, in gratitude for an education which has freed us, and profoundly thankful for all those faculty, family, and friends who made this day possible, we rejoice. Thank you, and may God bless you all.